Good afternoon and welcome. Our invocation this morning will be given by Kathy Mahan. Hi. To start off, Lashana Tova, which means Happy New Year. And what is inscribed in the Book of Life for another year of life. Anyway, this invocation is in honor of our speaker today, Dr. Khan, and it goes thusly. God of wisdom, bless doctors, medical scientists, researchers, and their educators around the world with insight and skill, dedication and fortitude as they prevent infection, combat diseases, and improve our health, so that their work yields knowledge and understanding, speedily find treatments and deterrence to illness. Source of life, grant them the strength to act swiftly and decisively with compassion and understanding in service to humankind, fighting the diseases that still plague the planet. Diseases threatening the lives of our brothers and sisters, nations and communities, young and old. Rock of Ages, bring an end to disease and suffering so that all may know your compassion and your grace. Praised are you, Lord, healer of flesh, maker of wonders. Amen. Thanks, Kathy. Our song leader today, Brock Frazier.
Thank you. My honor. One of my favorites, one we can all sing and join in, is America the Beautiful. So please join me. Oh, beautiful.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Thank you. Our Sergeant at Arms today is Jerry Brown. Our Sergeant at Arms today is Jerry Brown. Good. Do we have international visitors today? Don't believe so. Visiting Rotarians? No visitors. Do we have guests of Rotarians? Yes. Right.
Pardon me. I'm pleased to present to you a lady that I met at a charity event, very much instilled in the promises and things we do as Rotarians. And I'm just so proud to have met this woman. And she's looking at membership at our club. So I'd like you to give her a round of applause. Her name is Brittany Demas. Brittany, got to say
Hello, happy to be here today and have break bread with all of you today. So thank you for the welcome and the invite.
Thanks, Bob. Jamie has a guest right here.
Hi, everyone. My guest today is Jason Van Dusen. I met him through the Green Valley Rotary Club, and he came to the SOAR ceremony and was interested in seeing what our club was like. And I'll let him tell y'all what his business is.
Hey, thank you all. Joseph Van Dusen, and the company's Stealth Elevation. It's based on my experience as a stealth bomber instructor pilot. I try to transfer that to the civilian world and help leaders and teams become elite in the simplest terms. So thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm excited, and I can't wait to see what this club is all about.
Thank you. Back in the back.
like to introduce Rudy and Sybil from Supreme Mortgage Company. They were Rotarians in the Keys, Florida Keys, and just moved here. So we're gonna lasso them up.
Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. This is Debbie Howard. This is her third visit. Her application will be going to the board in October, and she can't wait for that green book to come around. She just wants to sign up for absolutely everything. So we can't wait. Thank you.
Do we have any other guests today? Austin?
Thank you. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Today, I have the privilege of having my cousin Justine here with me today. She is visiting from Pamela, Mexico. She says something else, but it's south of Cancun. You're not going to know anyways. So yeah, glad she's here. Thank you.
Do we have any other guests today? Then I'd like to introduce my head table today. Dr. Mark Kahn will be our speaker, and he'll be introduced more fully in a few minutes. Dr. Kathy Mahan, Greg McGuire, Rosalie Hedrick, and Stu Lipoff is back in town. So round of applause for the head table, please. Okay. We have some announcements today. We have Ginger Anderson on Zoom. Is that ready to go, Stu? David, somebody?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I have a few things to cover. We had a great time last week at the Bronx Wanderers show. They put on an awesome show. And we raised $500 for Santa Claus in the process. So that was awesome. Secondly, just a reminder to sign up in the Green Book for donations for Santa Claus. We have our match and we need the signups as soon as possible. Also, one more thing, on your table, there should be a pink flyer that says 50/50 raffle on it. Speedway Children's Charities has provided grants for Santa Claus for the past few years. Last year's was a very generous $10,000, and we are likely to receive one again this year. And they're asking for a little help from us. They need people to sell the 50/50 raffle tickets at the races the weekend of October 14th through the 16th. They have 3-hour windows where they need help. So if you're interested in participating, we'll get a sign up in the Green Book next week. But for now, you can email me or Sean if you'd like to go out to the races and help with raffle tickets.
Great. Thank you. Bill Steeren, are you here? There you are. Okay. Jerry, you were looking for people to find today? No, it's going to be you.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. How do you do? Hey, first thing I got to do is give a shout out to Sean, because she was a great help in getting our tour that took place on Tuesday. She gathered the data that we needed to get for security checks. She followed up with the members. She made things sure everything was smooth. And just so everybody knows, all the data has been shredded.
And I got news for you. Sean does that every single day,
She
every
does.
single project. So.
She does. At 0900 on Tuesday, a elite contingency of Rotarians got on a big white bus, rolled through the gates, went down to the flight line, at Nellis Air Force Base, where we were met by Major O'Neill, who gave us a briefing on the Thunderbirds, the F-35s, the F-22s, their background, what their capabilities were. I was a little upset because they wouldn't let me get off the bus and go sit in the pilot seat. However, they made amends. After lunch, they took us out to the search and rescue squad, which is the helicopter crew that goes out and does the search and rescue. Captain Brown was our briefer there. He's personally been involved in 56 rescues, many of them related to hurricanes. But there we got to go sit in the helicopters, and I got in a pilot seat. They took the key away, but you find out that they are really working machines with a purpose. And everybody in that crew, when the bell goes off, they're moving, not even knowing yet where they're going or what they're going to do, but they're moving and they plan it and do it en route. And they train every day, 4 or 5 days a week. After that, we went over where they do if you have to be in a bird and you get in place, you have to kind of punch out. Well, this crew puts that parachute and all your survival gear in that seat. I asked Tech Sergeant Laura how many times has he been involved where it was used? He said twice. And all those airmen were rescued. After that, they took us over to the hangar where the T-birds are at, let us wander around in the hangar, and I caught on film Aaron over here going up and petting one of those T-birds. After that, we got on a bus, we departed, but I think we all realized what a job they are doing for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. There were a bunch of us that would like to have been there. We were at the Boy Scout luncheon and they had Mark Davis as the speaker. And that was really interesting too. And they did a great job for the Boy Scouts. Tony Kern has a few things to talk to us about.
I'm doing show and tell. Show, sign up here, and tell is we have some clipboards with some items that are items of activities and things to sign up for that have been removed from the Green Book. So while you see things in the Green Book that you want to sign up with, you also want to make sure you stop by this table. So sign up here. So with that in mind, we have the Green Our Planet Fall Farmers Market. We already have 7 people who have signed up. I'm looking for 8 more, please. I've tried to get 15 total. It's on October 20th from 7:30 in the morning till between 10 and 11 o'clock. You'll have sufficient time to get from the government center to the Rotary Club meeting, so you won't miss out on that. This is going to be our second market that we're working with Green Our Planet on, so that we become their annual volunteer sponsor. Also, for those of you that are going to be doing any work or projects with children, whether it's TLC, whether it's RILA, whether it's family literacy at Beckley, or if it's the Books and Buddies program, the mentoring program, District 5300 does require that you have a passing test of youth protection training, and all it is an email with a test, and they give you the answers. You can take it more than once. So if you have not yet signed up for it, there is a sign-up sheet right there. We have had already about 20 people who have signed up. And normally John Chase, past district governor, he will tell me who has not yet turned them in. So please do that.
What is the date on that?
I'm sorry, that there's no deadline date on youth protection. You need to have that prior to doing any of your activities with kids.
So it's just done online.
It is done online. Then the next one is I'm floating a new idea and I'm trying it a different way. Rotary does have a Rose Parade float that is in the Rose Parade. And we have done quite well in past years and it's a lot of fun to work on. So I'm trying to find out what the interest would be in a group movement, getting people from Las Vegas whether it's from this club or other clubs. There's a maximum of 15 people per club. I've talked with Brian and we will talk with others to see if there's a way we can get a small bus to take us down on a Friday night, spend the night at a hotel, do the early morning Saturday shift. And after that shift is over, we return to Las Vegas. So if you have interest, I would like to know so that we can get names identified for signups. What I'm looking at is trying to get it in the middle of December, around December 17 and 18, when they're starting to put on the dry goods like the seeds. The frame of it is up, but the dry things will get put on there. The flowers don't come until the very end, and that's right around Christmas time and right before New Year's. And those are on weekdays, so I'm not aiming for that. So if you have an interest, catch me before I leave today so I know if I can start signing some people up. And we can ask 15 people per club, so we'll reach out to other clubs if we need more to get on the bus.
If you've never seen them put that together, it's really fascinating.
It's
a
amazing.
fun
Oh, wait.
thing to do.
Brian?
Remotely interested, you need to hurry up and get it in because there's a couple of different bus sizes and they're hard to come by. So basically, we need to hurry up and know how many people we have, whether or not that's something we want to do or not.
Yes. Thanks. Karen Wisenhunt, right behind you.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. We are 1 week away from the golf putting tournament sponsored by the Alara Group. And for next week, for those that have signed up already, need to be there for registration at 5:30. And it includes your golf putting and dinner. It's a barbecue dinner. So I hope if you can make it and you haven't signed up, you still have a week to do so. So we'll see you there next week.
Thanks, Karen. Carrie Groves, is she here today? No, okay. Does anybody else talk about the VIP tour? We'll hold that. Barbara Castro, right there. Rosalie, hold up. Wait, I'll get it back to you.
I'm gonna talk. Thanks, buddy. Love you. Okay, guys. So I need your help, please. So you guys have these cans on your table. We are trying to win this year. We really want to win. Katie really wants to win. And so if you could do me the favor today, take one of these to your business or your home. We're trying to raise lots of money for the canned food drive, please. In the green book, there is a sign-up sheet to donate money as well. So please do as much as you can for that. Appreciate that. Second thing, the 25 Club will be hosting a Halloween party. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be on October 28th at 6 p.m. at Antoinette's house. And you guys could invite family and friends. Also, it's going to be a potluck, and we're going to have a lot of fun things going on. Greg will be the DJ. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, he will be there. And we will be having a Halloween costume party as well. So it's going to be fun. There will be prizes, and it's going to be a good time. You guys be there. And we'll have more details later. Thank you. My trip was amazing. Thank you for asking, David.
I just want to reiterate about this canned food drive. I know we have so many things going on. This is one of the most important things we do every year. It's a competition. It's a fun competition, but it's really important because we donate a lot of food to the Salvation Army and 3 Square. So please, let's really get behind this. Thank you.
I want to donate a check for 200 in the name of Bracken School for the canned food drive, because we get our cans for 9 cents a can. So it's silly to go buy a crate in the grocery store when you can get 9 cents a can here.
Absolutely.
So who do I give the check to, Sean?
Give it to Sean.
Okay. So
Thank you. And this is one of our Title I schools that, I mean, 40% of the kids in the school district are on assist food. So this is a really important thing that we do. Thank you, Kathy. Rosalie.
Okay, so reminder, this is also a canned food project, $25. We're doing the tour at the LVCDA on October 20th, and we're meeting at 3:45 in the parking lot. Details to follow regarding that. The tour starts at 4 o'clock. We will be with the CEO of the organization, Brian Yost. And we'll give more details as we get closer, but we hope you all can come and also support the canned food drive. Thank you.
And we get to ride the loop, right? That'll be really cool. Okay. Rose Boloco, are you here? We're looking for candy still for the school. So if anybody wants to donate a few bucks for that or bring in bags of candy for the kids at Bracken and the other schools that we help. Renee Gamero. Yes, he is. He's way in the back.
So hello, everyone. In a little over 2 months, TLC is going to happen December 2nd to 4th. This is for for the 8th grader in your life. So whether it's a child, grandchild, we have 10 spots still available for this beautiful, life-changing 3-day, 2-night event over near the Arrowhead Mountains here in California. Please see me, Michael Williams, Bill Houghton, if you have someone that you'd like to experience this. It's a wonderful experience.
Great. And how about chaperones?
And I'm not sure how the chaperones is going to work yet, but we will need them as well. So if you come up to me for your interest, that's. I know Tina has gone. I know several others here have gone. If you could just talk to your table about what an experience that is from a Rotarian perspective, of being able to join these kids and experience the transformation that you see firsthand. So we will need that as well.
And that is an amazing experience. So
thank you.
Please sign up for that. Kirk Alexander's not here. Is here? Not here. And Stu, you get to make your announcement in person this time, and we can hear you and see you.
So I think everyone is aware that our club's mission is focused on education, building life skills, and we have a very active education committee that interacts with 6 of the Title I Clark County School District schools. But the Clark County school system is not the only effective educational institution here in town. If you have not been out to the Children's Discovery Museum, I think there's really an opportunity to see what remarkable things are doing there that are directly aligned with our club's mission. So we've been invited to host a special event, a table and a special event on dental hygiene. And we already have, I think, about 14 or so club members signed up. There's room for up to 20. You can point your cell phone at that QR code there. You can sign up at the green book that goes around, or you can take out your wheel and there's a QR code there. There are enough different ways to sign up for this, as well as the golf tournament and a variety of other things that you can do online without waiting for the book. But anyhow, 1:45 on Saturday till about 5, we are invited to come there as a group and host a table. We can wear all our Rotary regalia, T-shirts, hats. We'll have a banner there. So it's a great opportunity to not only serve the community, but also get some visibility for the club. I hope you can come.
Thank you, Stu. We have some Paul Harris Fellows to present today, Mike. And we have Randy Donald and Ryan Hamilton. Please come up.
Ryan. Okay. I'm gonna go say this quickly. I forgot to say this last meeting. Las Vegas Rotary Club has 90 plus Paul Harris Fellows. There's 21 more of our members that are not yet in there. If you're interested, let me know so that we may reach 100% Paul Harris Fellow membership. Okay. Today we're presenting Randy Donald, Paul Harris Fellow +6. This is you. Congratulations, Randy. And Ryan Hamilton's getting Paul Harris +3. He's not here. We'll wait another day.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Randy. Okay, I'd like to thank all the people that made this meeting possible today. Kathy Mayen and Donald Holland for setting up. Greg McGuire and Sidra Kane for greet. Jerry Brown was a greeter. Ticket sales, Marie. Our scribe today is Christine Luby. Our photographer, Jim Tucker. Our AV team, Stu and David Jones. And for cleanup today, Barbara Castro and Bert Reiner. I'll do our drawing now. Last week, Rose Faloco drew the Joker, and the foundation, as a result, is $4,516 richer, and so is she. So the pot today is starting back at $500. The winning ticket to draw for the Joker is 8441499. Okay. John Pally. Okay. And the ticket for $50 in Lowry bucks is 8441540. Barbara, no. 8441540. Well, no wonder Jim Tucker got it. One right on the front. Okay, I trust you. Thank you. Thank you. I am going to go ahead and call Greg McGuire up to introduce our speaker. We're going to start a little earlier because I think he has a really interesting presentation for us. Greg?
Thank you, President Katie, and good afternoon, Rotarians. It's my honor today to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Mark J. Kahn. And I'll just say that sitting at the table with two doctors, I've got two diagnoses and neither one of them were good. So I'm looking for a third opinion. Apparently I have no hope is what it came down to. But Dr. Kahn is the Dean of the Kurt Krikorian School of Medicine and the Vice President for Health Affairs at UNLV. He completed his graduate studies at University of Pennsylvania and also his medical studies there as well in 1987. He was elected into the Alpha Omega Alpha, and then his residency also at the University of Pennsylvania. From there, he went down to NOLA, New Orleans, down to the awesome school at Tulane University, and he was that's where he started his academic career. While he was there, he achieved his MBA with concentration in finance and international business. Of course, he's received multiple teaching awards at Tulane, and he's a master of the American College of Physicians and one of the few physicians not trained in the UK to be named a fellow of the Royal College of Physicians. So I hope we hear a little bit more about that, Dr. Kahn. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. And thank you for everybody for the warm welcome. It's always fun to speak to community leaders. I really thank the organizers for asking me to speak today. So what we're going to talk about today is a little bit about the future of healthcare. And I'm going to try to focus a little bit on Las Vegas. So a bit of history that probably you're more familiar with than I at this point, but it was in 2014 that the legislature was successfully lobbied to start an independent medical school here in Las Vegas with the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And we recruited our first class in 2017. We've now graduated 2 classes. And next week, we have a grand opening for our brand new medical education building. So we've done a lot, but in 2014 and the years prior, we were established really to care for this community. And that's why we're here. And everything that we do, we focus on that central mission. How does this help the community? So again, I really thank you for the welcome. And it's great to talk to community leaders like yourselves. So I titled this talk, "The Singularity is Now." Has anybody read Ray Kurzweil's book, The Singularity is Near? So if you hadn't, it's a recommendation. Somebody said yes. Yeah. So, and what Ray Kurzweil is a fascinating guy. He was at MIT. He's a futurist. He invented the first electric piano. He invented the first voice translator and many other things. But he talks about the singularity being that point in time where humans and machines are just working together in unison. And he shows a graph showing the countdown to singularity where, with artificial intelligence, et cetera, we're getting really much closer. And his title of his book about, 16, 17 years ago is The Singularity is Near, but I said the singularity is now. So we're going to talk a bit about technology. So let me start by talking about where we are. This is a year old. I apologize, but U.S. healthcare is a major part of our gross domestic product. 92% of people are covered by some insurance, but over a third of the population live in areas without mental health services. And unfortunately, here in Nevada, we rank 51 for all states for healthcare. Why 51? Because they include Washington, D.C., actually. So, and we're poorly ranked across the board in healthcare. So we really, really have a lot to do. And the thing that keeps me up at night is that there's so much to do, right? The good news is there's a lot to do. So I'll have a job. The bad news is there's really, really a lot to do. So when we talk about, I usually ask people, I ask medical students this all the time, what country has the best healthcare in the world, right? And they name countries, and typically the country that's not mentioned is the United States. And, just looking at one source, the Commonwealth Fund that looks at developed nations, and we are last. And they make a statement that the US is the only major industrialized country that fails to guarantee universal health insurance. And I'm not going to make a political talk, but that is in fact a reality. The one place that the United States is first in healthcare is expense per capita, right? So we outrank Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, Luxembourg, and we outrank the rest of the world. So if you consider value as quality over cost, and we look at where we are, we're not high quality, but we're very high cost. So we are not getting the value that we need. And there's lots and lots and lots of reasons for this, lots and lots and lots of blame to go around. But at this point, we need to make a difference and we need to change this value equation. And that's really what I see my job as the dean of the medical school to do in this community. So I want to focus a little bit on academic health centers. So at UNLV, under their previous president, there was a strategic plan. And one of the elements of the strategic plan was to develop an academic health center. our current president, Dr. Keith Whitfield, is passionate about this. He's a social psychologist. He does research on aging. Although he's not an MD, he's really dedicated his career to outcomes in aging, and he understands academic health. And what we want to do at UNLV is put together an academic health center. That's much more than just a school of medicine. At UNLV, we have a school of dental medicine, nursing, public health, allied health, and then we have mental health and behavioral health that's sort of distributed across 3 or 4 schools. We want to work together to improve the quality, improve the care for this community. That's why we're here. And when you look nationally, academic health centers are only 6% of all hospitals. They account for about 20% of healthcare expenditures, but they provide 40% of charity care. They're under tremendous financial pressures. I can also tell you that the comprehensive cancer centers, the NIH designated comprehensive cancer centers, right now we have none in this state, are all part of academic health centers, as are the burn centers and the trauma centers. One of the things I like about my job is we do not turn anybody away. Now, part of my job is to figure out how to not go bankrupt doing that, but we're here to serve the community, and that means everybody. And I don't have a special slide on this, but as we come out of the pandemic to a new phase of the pandemic, we're just beginning to realize the mental health problems that we are going to face as a community. And we need to be on the forefront of this. I've told you we're very last in mental health care, but now's the time to plan to make sure that we do the best that we can to meet the needs of our community. And they're going to be growing. It's going to be a growing need. In 2005, I was in New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina. That was a localized event, not a global event, but the mental health repercussions of that persist to this day. And even me, when I saw the tragedy that happened in Florida over the past few days, I really almost can't look at the news to see, the spinning hurricane. It just brings back all those memories of Katrina. So we're putting together an academic health center, and again, the goal is to care for the community. We want to provide access to everybody. We want to be affordable, and we want to be high quality. And we're going to do that we can't do it alone. If we did it alone, it would take us a really long time. And in 2019, when I was interviewing for the job I have now, I met with some donors, and they said, we really need an NCI, National Cancer Institute, designated comprehensive cancer center. And I said, you're right. I said, that's going to take about 20 years. They said, no, we can't wait that long. I said, I get it, but it takes a long time to get there. And they said, we can't wait that long. We have money. And I said, it's more than money, but the way to get there is a strategic partnership. So we are working with in a strategic way with the National Cancer Institute designated comprehensive cancer center to bring that care with UNLV and with our community here. That's going to be a game changer for care. It's going to be critical to our success. It's going to impact the economy, and it's going to give the community, quite frankly, the type of care that they deserve. As a quick example for cancer, I'm a hematologist oncologist. Bone marrow transplants are fundamental in the treatment of many pediatric cancers and many adult cancers, and we do not do allogeneic transplants in this state. The modern chemotherapy, not modern treatment of cancer, doesn't involve cytotoxic chemotherapy. It involves immunotherapies and cellular therapies where we take cells and manipulate them to recognize cancer, and then we re-inject them into people. We can't do that here because we don't have the facility, but we're going to work to bring that technology here soon. Okay, so things to do. The 4 missions really of what we do is we're engaged in our community. That's absolutely essential. We're part of the community. Again, our mission is to care for the community, and that's a primary mission. We do research. We provide patient care, and we educate the next generation of healthcare providers, whether they be nurses, physical therapists, doctors, etc. That's what we do. And the only mission, unfortunately, that makes us any money is clinical care. So all the others are money losers, but they're essential for why we're here. I put that slide up only to say that, you know, the fine line between breaking even, which is what we want to do, and losing a lot of money, you know, that line is really fine and small. We have to be careful, but we don't turn patients away. That's clear. So let me give you some examples of community engagement. So that bottom left-hand corner was taken at UNLV. We were the first to offer curbside testing for COVID-19. So COVID-19, I started in April of 2020, right when COVID-19, right when the shutdowns happened. The good news about that is that it was easy to articulate a message of why we need a medical school and an academic health center in Las Vegas, right? People got it with the pandemic. The bad news is it was hard to get things done and people died and whatnot. But community engagement, we recognize, is fundamental to what we do. We were leading the state in vaccinations for a long time. We were surpassed by the health district, but it doesn't matter. We were out vaccinating. And as a hematologist oncologist, early on in COVID, we really didn't have specific and effective treatment. We treated symptoms, but we didn't have targeted drugs. We didn't know how to treat the disease. But in the annals of in the history of medicine, starting with diphtheria, it was recognized that if you took plasma, the liquid part of blood, from somebody who had gotten diphtheria and survived, and you gave it to somebody sick with diphtheria, some of those patients recovered. So old technology, as a hematologist, I was able to call some people that I knew, and we were the third or fourth city that was able to offer that treatment. It's called convalescent plasma. Now, is it perfect? No, but at the time, it's all that we had. And now that we look back nationally with data, it did work for some patients. Not everybody, but it's all we had. But see, that's what academic health brings to the community. It brings those types of treatments, and at least brings the ideas and the ability to get people in the community together to provide such treatment. Again, you know, we're now, as part of our community, I think, you know, education, healthcare, and housing are the three critical features in any community, including ours. And I can't do much for housing, but in education, we are now in the schools providing clinics. We're in one school now as a pilot, the Bailey School, that is in an area of great need. And we're there providing healthcare. That's a model. You know, the old model of people going to the doctor, that's fine if you have the transportation and the ability to get there, but it's not fine for everybody. And we have to find ways to bring healthcare to people rather than people to healthcare. So getting in the schools is one way to do that. We've gotten some funding for some mobile clinics that we're going to start using. Telehealth, we learned about during the pandemic. That's another key feature, but we got to bring care to people, and we got to improve, again, the quality of what we do. Again, I think that when I think about UNLV and the future of community engagement, we're working with state governments to try to look for ways to get more doctors into our state. When you look at the number of doctors per capita in nearly every specialty, we're way below the 50th percentile. So we need more doctors in our state. We need to smooth out the licensing process. We need to smooth out some other regulatory elements. But this is really why we're here again, to provide doctors that the community needs. And then, you know, we talk about community and, you know, churches tackling a new role, health. And, you know, I spoke to church groups just about every weekend for a while about the importance of vaccination, answering questions, providing information. And again, the faith-based groups really helped during the pandemic and helped us in the community. I talked about, you know, bringing health to patients, not vice versa. Academic health, the academic health center, again, should be the hub. So one idea that hasn't been developed yet, but that we need to think about is when you think about what resources are available in many communities. One is schools. We talked about that. The other is the privately owned drugstore chains, right? So they're wired. They have the ability to communicate. In my mind, those should be places where we provide primary care in the community. We don't need to build anything, right? They're already there. You provide mid-level providers and maybe some primary care providers, and then they're networked into the academic health center for questions that they might not be able to answer. But again, we need to bring care to people rather than people to care. And this is just an example of sort of the future of, which is now, of telehealth. So many of us think about telehealth as you go onto your computer screen and you talk to your doctor or your nurse practitioner or your PA. But there's the ability now for these things to, I mean, we all know Google Watches can look at a heart rhythm strip. They can measure blood pressure. There are monitors for glucose that can transmit information. But there's also technology now where you can put on a glove and using haptic technology, somebody at a distance can examine a patient and you can actually feel that in the glove. You can feel an enlarged liver. You can listen to hearts and lungs remotely. And this is actually the future. This is where we're going, and this is how we can actually bring technology to people. From a research perspective, when I think about academic health and our research mission, I want it to focus, and we want it to focus on what the community needs. So we need to study things like diabetes and aging and inflammation. And that's exactly where we're putting our resources. Neurologic disorders, Alzheimer's, and things like that, things that directly affect the community. So a lot of research is funded by the National Institute of Health, but we know that the National Institute of Health funding is limited. So one of the things that we need to think about, and one of the things that we're doing at UNLV, is a whole area of technology commercialization, where if we need to use the intellectual property of the university, commercialize it, and then through that commercialization process, actually bring extra revenue to the university for further discovery. That brings jobs, that brings technology, and that diversifies our economy. And when I talk about the academic health center and the medical school being here to care for the community, we do that by providing health care, but we also do it by diversifying the economy and providing jobs, okay? And Las Vegas Biotech. So we now have some incubator space in the tech park off of the 215 near IKEA. We have a number of companies there. That's growing. And what I want is we need to basically put up a sale to take the companies leaving California to trap them before they get to Texas or Utah. And I really think that it's going to be the academic health center that can really be the nidus for that to happen. You know, one of the unique features of this community, and certainly the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, is the focus on hospitality. Are there people in this room who graduated from the hospitality school? There usually are, but anyway. So we actually have the #1 hospitality school in the world. Now, I don't know what that means, but it's pretty good, right? So one of the things that we're integrating into our curriculum and working in our practice is the whole concept of medical hospitality. What should the waiting room look like? What color should it be? How should people answer the phones? How can we be most hospitable, right? We're a consumer-facing business. All of us have been frustrated with people not answering phones, not getting the information you need, clinic appointments getting canceled, and we just need to up our game. And we think that using principles of hospitality is a way to get there, and we're really uniquely qualified to do that. Additionally, we're becoming, if not already, the sports capital of the world. So at the medical school and through health science, we want to be the experts on sports health. And we're working towards that, right? We have sports teams, we have UFC, etc. So we were talking with the leadership of UFC and a group of us, and they said, well, you know, we like the university, but you're sort of clunky, you're a university, you're cumbersome, you're bureaucratic. But if you could help us solve a problem, that might be cool. So we said, well, what problem do you have here? What do you think needs to be solved? And the guy said, well, we've been using the same glove in UFC for, I'm getting the timing wrong, but I think he said 20 years. And the problem is the fighters have to be able to use their hands to grip. It's not like a boxer. But because the thumb is free, we get a lot of people that get poked in the eye, and that takes them out of fighting. And there's money involved in this and everything else. So we got a group of engineering students, medical students, and faculty together to help redesign the glove. Now, I'm not sure we came up with the right answer, but that's just one of the cool things that an academic health center can bring to a community. So somebody asked me to talk a little bit about an MD MBA. So back in 2008, after Hurricane Katrina, after we moved our school 370 miles away to Houston, Texas, that's a whole story in and of itself, I thought that it would be a good idea to learn some management for real. And I went back to get my MBA. But before that, I had started an MD MBA program at Tulane and subsequently started another one. But let me tell you a story of two people and why having students trained in both medicine and business is important for our community. So in the lower left is a picture of Will. And when Will was an undergraduate student at Tulane as part of a bioengineering project, he developed a device that clamped, disinfected, and cut an umbilical cord in sort of one twist. And the reason that's important is worldwide, neonatal Clostridium infections from a bacteria are fatal and a big problem. So in many rural countries, they reuse tools, etc. So Will was trying to solve that problem. And Will came up with an idea and talked to the Tulane technology folks, and they gave him 30 reasons why this wasn't going to work. And because Will's Will, he came back 2 weeks later and had solved all of them. Will, when he was about to graduate medical school, he was offered $8.5 million for his technology. Now, he didn't listen to me. I said, take it and run with it. But he was offered that. That's the type of people we want to train at UNLV. Kane in the upper left-hand corner, when he was an undergrad, he and some buddies started a company, a diagnostics company. And right after he graduated medical school, that sold to J&J for millions of dollars. Kane took that money and started his own venture capital fund. He closed the first one. It earned 15 times what was put in. That's pretty good for the investors. He's now in his second one. Will asked me, if I wanted to contribute. And I said, Will, I'm an academic. He said, yeah, but for you, the buy-in can only be, I'll get you down to $1 million. I said, Will, I'm an academic, right? That's just not going to happen. I'm sure I'd make money, but anyway, Kane, not Will. But anyway, the point being that we want to train the type of student that's going to A, stay in this community, B, make a difference, and C, perhaps diversify our economy in ways that we haven't seen. So when I talk about the future of clinical care, most of us, like me, I was taught in medical school how to diagnose disease, but guess what? Computers can probably do that better than me. So we have to rethink about how we train our medical students and how to teach them how to work in teams and how to coach and how to change behavior. It's really, really much different. I can skip that slide. I'm going to skip that one as well. So when we talk also about clinical care and the unique characteristics of this town, this is a tourism-based and hospitality-based economy. As we develop new programs like treatment for Alzheimer's disease, like the cancer care that I'm talking about, like the sports care that I'm talking about, we need to be a hub here for medical tourism. We need to be a place where people come to get their care. Not their emergent care, because they're not going to have the luxury for that, but some of the types of care that they're going to need. Hip replacement, knee replacement, cancer treatment, etc. And again, working towards our unique skill set in hospitality with our School of Hospitality as well and with our partners. You can imagine a situation where if you need your knee replaced, you come to UNLV and everything's set up for you. Your hotel's set up. Maybe you have tickets the night before for dinner. You have reservations. You got some tickets to a show. You get your knee replaced. You come, you stay in one of our hotels. You have some rehab, and you go home. That's the way we really need to think about medical tourism and about, again, diversifying our economy. And we've talked a bit about telemedicine and telesurgery. Several years ago, I wrote a paper with some colleagues called "Who's Flying the Plane?" So are there any pilots in the room? Oh man, I gotta watch what I say. If I say something wrong, just yell out and correct me. But how many minutes does the average commercial pilot fly the plane? I'm gonna ask the pilot. I'm not gonna give the answer. How's that? I'm not saying you're not doing anything. Pilots are important, but actually flying the plane, suffice it to say, it's a small amount of time because computers can do things better than we can, right? In medicine, the Defense Department and others are working on telesurgery because we're limited as human beings to the motions that we can make with our hand. But there might be a better way and a faster way to tie a stitch. There might be a better way to remove a gallbladder. So truth be told, we're going to get to the point where technology is doing a lot of these things. And if you feel uncomfortable, I'm asking the pilot, right? We're perfectly comfortable flying a plane because we know there's a pilot there. There will be a doctor there. But sometimes we can leave things, we can almost escape the element of human error. Is that fair, pilots? Did I insult you? I didn't mean to. Except for an engine fire. Okay, well, yeah, fair enough. Or if the battery of one of these gizmos goes out, right? So that thing in the lower left is something that the Defense Department is working on to provide surgery, emergent surgery in the field of battle. And then medical education. You know, we in North America and the Philippines, excuse me, are the only people that use the model of 4 years of college followed by 4 years of medical school. And I love poets in medical school, but I recognize it's a financial luxury for people to do that. So we really need to look at the way that we provide education. We need to streamline the process, and we need to make that a lot more efficient as well. And then finally, when we talk about medical education, you know, we have in our new building a simulation center. When I went to medical school, we called it see one, do one, teach one. You saw somebody do something, you did it, and then you taught the next person how to do it. And that just doesn't make sense. So now in our new building, we have some very high fidelity simulators. We have a simulated operating room. We have a simulated emergency room. There's a high fidelity mannequin that you give drugs to. They're barcoded, and it gives you the proper response. And you can do everything up to killing a patient, unfortunately, but it's all part of training. We have a mannequin that's a pregnant woman, and you can go through a delivery, breech or otherwise. That's really the future. And in addition to simulation, the future is really artificial intelligence and virtual reality. And we're working to see with our International Gaming Institute at UNLV how we can gamify medical education and how we can gamify the way that we really educate the next generation of physicians. So in summary, the only constant in life is change. That was Heraclitus, and then Ben Franklin, my mentor. When you're finished changing, you are finished. So with that, I really thank you for your time and attention. I hope that this was compelling. Thanks to the folks that invited me. And I guess I'm available for some questions if that's okay. Let me let him lead the. Yeah.
Hi, I was just curious, when do you think nanobots are going to be a practical application in medicine?
Yeah, so nanobots are really small, sometimes molecules, sometimes small peptides that have hinges, et cetera, so they can actually move very small distances and do things. I think it's early, but I think it's certainly reasonable to expect that we may be using them to remove clot. We may be using them to repair tissue. And I think that there's a potential great future for that.
So in reference to the dental school at UNLV,
Mhm.
do you still take random, I'll call it, people as patients? So if you had a friend who didn't have dental insurance, could I say, oh, I know a place you can go for a reduced cost and get some work done?
So I'm not the dean of the dental school, but in my role as vice president for health sciences, I do work with the dental school very closely. And yes, they do have a free clinic. If I had the number, I'd give it to you, but I'm sure you can find it online. Yes, they do.
So, Dr. Khan, first of all, thanks for being here, but more importantly, thanks for what you're going to be doing for the community.
Thanks.
But my question is I look at some of the future aspects of this, of access and delivery and therapy and this sort of stuff, and I think about some other industries that are outside medical, where all that technology is incubating. It's kind of in the games, the consumer electronics, that sort of thing. So are you doing anything, or is there anywhere proactively we're trying to bring those two industries together to facilitate that cross-fertilization of AI and high-resolution displays and haptics and all that other good stuff?
Stu, that was a setup question. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. That's really a primary focus of the university right now. We have the UNLV has an International Gaming Institute. The university has some 30 plus patents on games, right, for the gaming industry. But when you go to the International Gaming Institute, they have this haptic technology. You can wear a suit and get into a fight and see what that feels like. You can put on the goggles and walk a plank, essentially. So the question is, you're right, now it's fun and games, but how do we get that to actually being useful? And we're working on ways to do that. And I think the university is going to be the incubator for that, for sure.
Thank you, Dr. Khan, for your presentation today. I wondered, in your training of future doctors, one of the biggest problems in defending a doctor in a medical malpractice case is that the doctor didn't treat the patient very well, and so they're angry. As we transition to more technology, isn't it going to be more important than ever to teach doctors to treat their patients better?
So technology is not a substitute for good patient care. Technology is an adjunct to good patient care. So you're absolutely right that communication part is essential. And you probably know better than I, but doctors get sued when there's an unexpected outcome, when there's not a doctor-patient relationship, so like an emergency room, and when there's just poor communication as to what to expect, unrealistic expectations because of poor communication. So when we look at how we train the doctors of tomorrow, again, that diagnostic piece that my generation spent a lot of time doing becomes a little less important, because to simplify, I mean, I'm oversimplifying, but you could put in a group of symptoms into a computer and it can give you a differential diagnosis of the possibilities of diagnosis, right? But what's important is that communication piece. And what's important critically is, how do you talk, how do you communicate to modify behavior? Because that's really what medicine's all about, right? It's telling somebody, look, you got to lose weight because otherwise you're at great risk for a heart attack and diabetes, etc. It's telling somebody you got to monitor your blood sugar so that you don't get the complications of diabetes. It's telling somebody you have to exercise because we know that that's good for the brain. Or you got to take this medicine or this treatment course. It's really modifying behavior. So I'm arguing that the skill set is different, but I don't think doctors will ever be replaced by technology, because we need that human element to convince people to do the right thing. And to date, machines haven't been able to do that. So good question.
Hi, Dr. Khan. I'm over here. Thank you for coming to speak to us. I've been in the healthcare IT industry my whole career doing electronic health record implementations. And one thing I run across quite a bit is regulations around privacy of mental health records kind of negatively impacting the ability of that piece to be part of the comprehensive patient care. So as you're looking to integrate the disciplines across the school, I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that and how you plan to tackle that.
Yeah, so, we really believe that mental health and physical health are not separate entities, but twin berries on one stem. So you can't be physically healthy if you're not mentally healthy, and vice versa. So in our new clinic space that we've just gotten some state money for, which is great, we are going to have both mental and physical care occurring in the same place at the same time for the same person, right? So maybe I don't understand the privacy concern, but we use one electronic medical record, and that includes both mental behavioral health as well as physical health. So we don't really have that disconnect problem. I think the problem that we have as a community is recognition that people need mental health care. That doesn't mean they're crazy, right? And how critical that is in the health of the individual. So it's really the destigmatization that we need to work on. And that's why we think if we do everything in one place, it's not like you go to that place if you're crazy and this place if you have a stomach ache, right? It's all one, right? So we got to take that out. And again, coming out of this pandemic, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to see with mental and behavioral health problems. So, thank you.
Over here. So I'm really curious, what does the new UFC glove look like?
So
how did you solve that?
So I saw a picture of it, and I'm maybe not the best person to describe it, but the thumb was opposable, but it had an elastic that after you opposed the thumb, it kind of snapped back into place. So have you ever seen so I, when I was in New Orleans and had more time than I do now, I used to box. Now I never hit anything and hit back. Let me make that clear, okay? That I did. But, so boxing gloves, the thumb is actually connected to the glove. It has a little piece of either fabric or elastic, but it really doesn't allow opposition. Because when you're boxing, firstly, if you hit somebody wrong, you break your first metacarpal. That's even called a boxer's fracture for that reason. So the thumb is not meant to, but you're also in boxing, you're not allowed to grab anybody, right? So this had a piece of elastic of the right tensile strength that the fighter could separate, but then it would automatically pull back. Don't know if it's the best design, but it was a start.
Hi, Dr. Khan. I heard about all of the cutting edge technologies and the different directions that you're heading, but of the things that are currently in the marketplace, what is it that makes Nevada has such a lousy healthcare system? And of the technologies and things that are out there currently, what is it that we need to improve to make our way up the food chain?
So I think, and I'm going to be a bit parochial about this, but what's happened is this community has seen a meteoric rise in population. It's happened quickly. It's been unprecedented, and healthcare and other things have not been able to keep up. In 2014, we were clearly the largest urban community without a medical school. Okay. And the delay in having a medical school, delays some of this new technology and new ways of thinking, if you will. Again, I'm being somewhat self-serving. I apologize, but I think that's really what led to us being where we are. So.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. Earlier in your presentation, you said that the cancer treatment here in Las Vegas is lacking. What happens? What other options these cancer patients that we have, what could they do if they're not, it's not available here?
Yeah, so I want to be careful with what I said. I did not say there are not good cancer doctors here. Okay? And that's really important. What I said is that there are technologies that are available in other cities our size that are not available here. So for now, many people go out of town, unfortunately. We don't want that to happen. We want the care to be available here.
Sorry, is there time for one more question? Okay. I just want to ask as well, and I know you're coming at this from the academic side of things, but I've noticed a lot of doctors' offices in the last couple of years are switching to a private subscription model where you pay $2,000 to be a member of their office, and then they have a limited number of patients and supposedly better healthcare. I'm just curious what you think about that.
So I'm going to wear my politics on my sleeve a little bit. I believe basic health care is a right, not a privilege. I worry about when we have elitism like that. I'd like to see some proof that the health care is actually better. So I'm not sure that's true. That may be what's advertised, but I'm not sure that's true. And I think it's a shame that our system forces those types of options.
One last question. What can we do to help support your mission?
So I think the best thing that we need from the community is support. And I don't mean financial support. Look, I'm not going to turn down a gift. That's not what I'm talking about. But we need the support of the community to recognize what we're trying to do and recognize why we're trying to do it. We are working to change some laws in this state that are not going to be politically favorable to everybody, right? So there's been a history of things happening here. Let me give an example without being obtuse. Many states have something called any willing provider laws. That means that if somebody meets credentialing criteria, a physician, a provider, that they are automatically on the health plan. In this state, we do not have any willing provider laws. That means that an insurer can say, we're only going to limit the number of dermatologists we have to you two. So that does not improve access to care. That delays time to appointment. It doesn't improve the quality. It does not, there's no pressure. We know monopolies are bad, right? For all kinds of reasons, but we allow that here. So we're working with our state legislators to get us any willing provider laws. I could hire 5 of the best oncologists tomorrow, but I can't get them on any of the insurance plans in the state. Just crazy. But politically, the folks that have those contracts are not going to support that type of legislation. So I think it's that type of grassroots, what is best for our community, not what's best for me, right? That's what we need. Thank you. Again, I really thank you for your time.
Don't go away. Dr. Khan, I want to thank you so much for being here today. We have what we call our Soul Power Award for you. And what we do is offer a pair of shoes to a child in need in your name. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. And as somebody who wears like a size 6 shoe, I actually have child shoes. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Meeting adjourned.